New Jersey, we have made history.
So by the time that I post this video, it's going to be the middle of the night. For some of you, it's very late. But I have some breaking news that I couldn't wait to share, so I had to post this ASAP because we had some elections that were, quite frankly, pretty shocking to me. One in particular that I did not expect to turn out the way it turned out. So in the 12th Congressional District of New Jersey, Dr. Adam Hamawy prevailed with 28% of the vote, which might not seem like a lot, but this field was very, very crowded. There was approximately 12,247 people running in this one district, and he prevailed. And that is a really big deal. So this is a very blue district. He's going to be replacing Bonnie Watson Coleman. So since he won the Democratic Party primary, he is essentially going to go to Congress. That is significant because this individual is an incredible candidate with a personal story that is truly gut-wrenching. So if you go to his website, he says, I rose to the rank of lieutenant colonel in the Army and served as a combat trauma surgeon in Iraq at the height of the war. One of my patients later became a United States Senator, Tammy Duckworth. She ended up endorsing him, by the way. Since completing my service, I have worked in New Jersey emergency rooms and built my own practice in Princeton. Over the last 30 years, I have volunteered to treat patients in war and disaster zones, including Bosnia, Haiti, Sudan, Colombia, Belize, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Turkey, and Jordan. In 2024 and 2025, I went on medical missions to Gaza, where I was trapped with my colleagues when Israel seized the Rafah crossing. I refused to leave until all of my colleagues, including U.S. green card holders and other nationals, were guaranteed safe passage alongside the American citizens in the group. I was honored to be Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman's State of the Union guest in 2025. So he was an ER doctor, which is significant for anyone who has watched The Pit. But this man risked his life to go to Gaza, where a genocide was taking place, to assist Palestinians who were being murdered by Israel. And when you listen to him talk about what he saw there, you can tell it really affected him because what he witnessed was truly, truly horrific. And I want to play a portion from his interview with Sateo, where he shares his experience, because I think that this perspective is going to be in Congress, and that truly is something that is so encouraging to see. But just watch.
What is something that you wish you could put into words to someone who hasn't been able to see Palestine before for their own eyes?
I would say is whatever you are watching, about what's happening there on social media, and you see horrible photos about, the killing and the destruction. And it is much worse than that. I mean, it is to be in there, physically, to have the smells, the full senses, the hearing, to have the crying children, the families outside with them, and to see this every single day. You just can't even describe it well enough. Think about whatever picture you take with your iPhone, trying to get that sunset, and that little, that shadow that you get, and you say, well, that's much more, beautiful. It's the contrast. So it's whatever you're seeing on your camera, it's much more horrible in person. And one thing I've learned over many years is that you really don't know what's happening until you are on the ground and you are there. Because whatever news that you are going to get, I don't care who it is from, you're getting only one perspective. And until you are physically there, and can see with your own eyes and hear with your own ears, you really don't understand what's happening. And we see that, it just, it's continuing. Right now, what's been happening in Gaza has not stopped despite the ceasefire. The killing continues until today. We've had an expansion of it, even though we really don't talk about it. We have the Gazification of the whole region. What we've been doing to Gaza over the last 3 years is now expanded into Lebanon. And we have whole villages now that are being bombed, and we are supporting it. We have ethnic cleansing that is happening at another level, and we are silent about it. And so this can't continue.
Yeah. So it's really nice to have somebody in Congress with that experience, as traumatizing as it may be, because you know that is somebody that's going to hold firm. He saw the horrors firsthand. The talking points aren't going to persuade him. The lobbyists aren't going to persuade him. He saw the genocide with his own two eyes. That is somebody who will be a powerful advocate for human rights. And another encouraging thing that might seem insignificant to a lot of people is that he is presumably a fan of One Piece, as am I. I have the manga behind me. But One Piece is a show that a lot of leftists like because it is essentially about liberating oppressed people. You know, it is about anti-racism, anti-colonialism. It is in opposition to oligarchy and wealth hoarding and the destruction of resources and interference from government agencies like the CIA. I mean, if he likes this show, then that tells me that he really is somebody who he cares about the leftist cause broadly. And it's not just that like he is good on the issue of Israel-Palestine, on Gaza. He is a medical doctor and he supports Medicare for all. I think that is very, very important. That is one of the strongest advocates that you can get for Medicare for all. He's an ER doctor. He knows how important healthcare is. Now, on top of that, he's also really strong on LGBTQ plus rights. And, you know, if you look at these platforms from Democratic Party politicians, they will all reference LGBTQ plus rights, but a lot of them conspicuously are leaving out trans people these days. They'll say LGBTQ plus rights, but they won't mention trans. I've been seeing this trend, and I'm increasingly characterizing that as a red flag. But Adam is above and beyond the rest of the Democrats with regard to trans rights. He doesn't just name trans people in his priorities. He literally supports a transgender Bill of Rights and specific pieces of legislation to guarantee healthcare to trans people, to ensure protections are codified for trans people. And that is really encouraging because you can tell this guy is the real deal. And it is so encouraging to know that this guy is going to be a member of Congress. It's almost certain that that's going to be the case. And I'm like honestly shocked because you couldn't really ask for a better candidate. This is somebody who is a trauma surgeon, a combat trauma surgeon. He's an ER doctor. He served in Gaza. I mean, this is going to be the standard bearer for the left. I mean, this guy is as good as it gets in terms of candidates. And he's so good that he has endorsements from everyone. Like Tammy Duckworth doesn't really share the same politics as he does, obviously, but she endorsed him because this man saved her life. So I am thrilled that this man is going to be a member of Congress. My mind is blown, honestly. I'm so encouraged by this news because, you know, after seeing the shit he saw, like anything in Congress, it's going to pale in comparison. How are they going to break his soul when he's seen firsthand children get slaughtered by Israel, when he was trapped in Gaza? I mean, he's got to be Teflon, right? So, like, I mean, look, that's really good news. Now, here's where we get to the not so positive news, and that is the state of California. I'm noticing this trend with these West Coast blue states, Oregon the same, is, you know, the Democratic Party has had a stronghold here, and since they feel safe, you know, they just don't feel the need to improve. And whenever somebody comes along saying, hey, I want to change things for the better, they get rejected or drowned out by all the corporate Democrats. It's just really frustrating. And although the votes aren't all in yet, it doesn't look good across the board in California. I'm just going to keep it real with you. It doesn't look good. Now, there's only like 50% of the votes that have been tallied thus far. So this is all, you know, take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to share the results that I have now with you so that way I can go to bed. And then I'll have a pinned comment tomorrow with all of the results that are finalized. But I just wanted to like give you my take on these races because I haven't really weighed in yet on these races, at least too much. So let's talk about some races that are standing out to me. Of course, the governor race is really important. And as it stands now with 49% of precincts reporting, it does look like Steve Hilton, the former Fox News host and Republican, and Javier Becerra are going to be advancing to the general with Tom Steyer several 100,000 votes behind. Now, as I said, it is still early, so that can change. My hope is that Tom Steyer advances to the general. And I was really torn on Tom Steyer because, you know, when he ran for president in 2020, he was more of a milquetoast center-left candidate. He didn't support Medicare for All. Since then, he's changed. But there's one thing that makes it really difficult for me to support Tom Steyer in particular, and that is he is a billionaire. And I fucking hate billionaires. And I don't like that, the billionaire is the most progressive because, objectively speaking, he's the most progressive. He has the best platform. And it's hard for me because it causes me some cognitive dissonance, because I am an individual who has argued there's no such thing as a good billionaire. So this actually forces me to challenge my own perspective and question, is Tom Steyer a class traitor like he says he is? I don't know, because, there's still questions, right? If you have all this money, why are you spending it to try to buy yourself a governor seat? Why not use that to end homelessness in your state? You have enough money to do that, right? So with all of those caveats aside, I understand he's a billionaire, but I can't help but root for him given who he was up against. The juxtaposition between Javier Becerra and Tom Steyer is crazy because it's like, okay, you've got a billionaire who is saying he's progressive, and then you've got Javier Becerra, who is basically a puppet of billionaires who's saying, I'm not going to change shit, basically. Like, I'm being uncharitable, right? But he is a fucking joke. And there's even an article about former Biden administration officials shocked that this incompetent buffoon is able to do so well in this race. Eric Swalwell was the favorite before he was accused of rape, and Javier Becerra kind of took up the mantle. And it's crazy because, California just lived through Gavin Newsom, and they're like, you know what? We need somebody worse than Gavin Newsom in Javier Becerra. And if he advances to the general with the Republican Steve Hilton, it's a blue state. Javier Becerra is going to become the next governor of California, and I just find that so tragic because California can do so much better. It is a state with tens of millions of people, and they keep picking the worst fucking people to be their governors. So it's not ideal that Tom Steyer is the best candidate in this race, but given the choice between him and a corporate Democrat who is taking money from fossil fuel companies and is like, I don't support Medicare for All, I don't support dick that anybody left of center wants. It's a sad outcome. And, there were interviews with voters in some news publications. I can't remember who interviewed this girl that was like, yeah, I voted for Javier Becerra because I don't support Tom Steyer because he's a billionaire. And I understand that. But, Javier Becerra has the support of so many billionaires and large multinational corporations. So functionally speaking, I think that supporting a corporate Democrat who's bankrolled by multiple billionaires is much more harmful than one billionaire who's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to try to be progressive. He could be lying. He could be pulling our leg, but at least there's a chance that he might do more than the guy who's like, I'm not going to do jack fucking shit. It's crazy. And again, that's an oversimplification. Javier Becerra is running on some things. What are they? Goodies for large multinational corporations, nothing for you. It's just crazy. Now, I want to talk about the LA mayor race because this race is agonizing to watch. It is agonizing. It is killing me. So with the results, currently there's only 47% of the vote in, and it looks like Karen Bass and reality TV show dickhead Spencer Pratt are going to be advancing to the general election. Again, it's not a foregone conclusion, but Nithya Raman, the Mamdani-style progressive, is in a distant third, and she has a lot of ground to make up, but it's possible, since at the time that I record this, at least, they haven't called it yet. But for me, obviously, it's a no-brainer. I would vote for Nithya Raman in this particular race. She's not perfect, but I think that she very clearly is the best out of these candidates. Karen Bass is just a standard corporate Democrat, uninspiring. She's the Javier Becerra in this race. But then you have Spencer Pratt, and if you look online, you almost see a Trump-like cult of personality forming around this guy, and I was hoping he wouldn't advance because I want to snuff this fucking campaign out in the crib, because if he goes on, even if he loses, this guy, I hate to say it, has potential to have a national platform, potentially run for Congress. If he loses, he says he's going to go back to doing healing crystals because that's his thing. I don't know what the fuck he does. But I just feel like Republicans, they like what they see. And it pains me to know that there's already another reality TV show dickhead to fill the vacuum that Trump leaves when he dies or leaves office. And this guy could be that based on what you see. And it's kind of a substanceless campaign that he's running, but he knows, like Trump, how to get eyeballs on him, right? He knows how to play on grievances and look at the failures of corporate Democrats and say, hey, they fucking suck. My house burned down because of the Palisades fires. And I don't know, like, I guess he's blaming Karen Bass, but it's just, I see this individual as dangerous because right-wing pseudo-populism, it does play well. And it just sucks that, like, in a very blue city, so many people are falling for him. But again, you know, there's a lot of dissatisfaction with Karen Bass, and I see the same stuff in Oregon. The Oregon Democratic Party is so unpopular. I don't know any Democrats in Oregon that like this party, and every election I'm clenching my butt cheeks wondering if a Republican is going to finally win. You know, they haven't yet, but it's like there's so much dissatisfaction with the Democratic Party that you wonder, are people just going to vote Republican out of spite because they're not really doing anything to fix the state? And it's like a train wreck, right? So I was hoping that Spencer Pratt would go away so I'd stop having to hear about this fucking dickhead who's an obvious con man, but he's at least going to be around until November. And, you know, judging how well he does, he could have a national political career ahead of him. If he wants to run for Congress, I don't know, man. It's not something you want to see. Now, I want to talk about a more obscure district, Congressional District 22 in California. It does look like Randy Villegas is going to be advancing to the general. I don't know too much about him. He is the progressive who supports Medicare for all. I believe he's endorsed by Bernie Sanders as well, so just keep that in mind. I don't think he is, you know, rocking anyone's world, but he is somebody who could be a part of the progressive caucus. We'll have to wait and see. Again, I'm not too sure. But that's what the preliminary results so far. Again, things could change. But the one that really hurts, Congressional District 11. This is Nancy Pelosi's old district, and there's a lot to talk about here. So let's get to the results first and foremost. Just 43% of precincts are reporting. But as it stands now, Scott Wiener, the liberal Zionist candidate, is going to be advancing to the general with a very strong plurality. And Connie Chan, the Pelosi-endorsed AIPAC-backed candidate, is the second candidate who is looking like she's going to advance, at least as it stands now. And she has double the votes ahead of Choikat Chakrabarti, which is painful to see because Choikat is the former chief of staff of AOC. He is obviously the progressive, anti-genocide, pro-Medicare for all, and he is a shit stirrer in Congress. And it's not looking good, man. And part of me feels a little bit angry that he wasn't embraced by the progressive left. You know, criticisms of him that you may have aside. You know, AOC refused to endorse him inexplicably, wouldn't say why. I don't know if Bernie Sanders endorsed him, so I kind of feel like the left shit the bed here and we didn't do more to support Choikat, which is really disappointing because he is somebody who the Democratic Party establishment hated when he was AOC's chief of staff. Maybe that's why she didn't want to endorse him, because he would always press them to do better, which is exactly what we need right now. So it's going to be between a liberal Zionist and an AIPAC-backed genocide supporter. Man, that's a really dismal result here. It's like you're getting new boss, same as the old boss. You're trading Nancy Pelosi for Nancy Pelosi 2.0. Either way, really disappointing. I will say that Scott Wiener at least supports Medicare for all, so there's that. You know, but I mean, this is a corporate Democrat, so he could be lying. There's a lot of corporate Democrats that sign on to Medicare for all, that join the Congressional Progressive Caucus, but they don't do jack fucking shit to advance progressive goals. So you could have had a real sure bet here in this district with Choikat, and it doesn't look like it's heading in that way. Again, if I wake up in the morning and the results change and he is pulling in second place, I will be pleasantly surprised. But as it stands right now, there's just one spot left in that general, and Choikat has a lot of ground to make up. Now, there's one other thing that I want to talk about in this particular district, and it is a train wreck that took place that a lot of people didn't notice, but I did because I am terminally online. And so there was a Democrat who was running an openly transphobic campaign. I'm not joking about that. So this is an actual ad from Democratic candidate Marie Hirabel that she put out in Nancy Pelosi's old district, which probably has one of the largest LGBTQ plus populations in the country. This is the ad she actually released.
Hey, I'm Ruth Raviel. I'm running for Congress. I don't believe that boys should be playing in girls' sports. 65% of Democrats agree with me, but are too afraid to say so. I am never afraid to speak up for what's right. I'm running for Congress as the only moderate in this race to bring common sense to Washington, D.C., and bring the Democratic Party back to the American people.
Now, when I stumbled across that, I actually thought that it was satirical. I was waiting for the punchline for her to be like, this is not a real issue. Republicans are distracting you with this issue. But no, she's like, I'm actually a moderate and I don't like trans people. She also, I think she's a TERF, unironically, because she is sharing videos of people talking about how Scott Wiener abandoned the LGB community, conspicuously leaving out trans people. And, that's why I'm supporting Marie Hirabel. So this person is running an anti-trans campaign in 2026. It's fucking crazy. Like, when there are fascists in power, she's focusing on trans people. And I actually called her out on Twitter. And I'm like, congratulations, you're going after the 5 trans kids that exist at the K through 12 level across the country. Good job. And she responded to that, and she's like, it's actually more than that, but I think you knew that. Like, she was trying to pretend like I was disingenuous, and then I hit back with the article citing a study from a researcher who said there are just 5 known trans athletes across the country. It was from 2023, but I mean, there's just not a lot. There's around 100 at the collegiate level, but for the most part, we're talking about a tiny fucking handful of people. And when she saw that I came back with facts, what she did, she withered away. She didn't respond because, of course. Now, the good news is that, this was a test run and it did not go well for her. She got fucking smoked. She got blown the fuck out because running as a moderate in 2026, running as a transphobe in 2026 in the Democratic Party, it's just a baffling strategy. I don't know that a Republican could be successful running on transphobia in 2026. It's arguable that they were before, right? Because this is not an issue at the front of people's minds. A lot of folks don't know trans people in real life. They might not like trans people because they've been tuned into the culture war, but it's not going to galvanize them to come out and vote. But it does galvanize people to vote against transphobes if you're attacking their fucking family. So I don't know what this person was thinking, but it's hilarious that she thought this would be successful. So, to back out, this is already a long-ass video and it's already late. Let me just say that I'm disappointed in what I'm seeing in California. I'm crossing my fingers that things are going to change. Look for that pinned comment if you're watching this. And but aside from that, I don't want to focus on the negative because I think that Dr. Adam is a miracle candidate. I can't believe that he won and he's going to be in Congress. So that's really good news. So I will leave you with that. Take this win because we're going to have some really solid members in Congress in this next session, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see what Chris Rabb and Dr. Adam do. It's just perfect. So I'm really excited about this.